Mike? Oh, sorry. Thank you. All right. Good evening. My name is Matt Comcar, and I'm the chair of the Planning Commission for City of Campbell. The Planning Commission meeting will be conducted in person and virtually via video teleconferencing Zoom in compliance with the provisions of the Brown Act. Commissioner Ostrowski will be attending remotely at 500 Hotel Circle in San Diego. The quorum of the Planning Commission will be attendance at the City Hall, at the Campbell City Hall. Members of the public may attend this meeting in person at Campbell City Hall or virtually via Zoom at https://campbellca.gov PC sign up. Meeting will be live streamed on channel 26 of the city's website and on YouTube at YouTube/@City of Campbell. Written correspondence will be accepted via email at the planning@campbellca.gov until 12 p.m. of the day of the meeting, and therefore may be delivered, and thereafter may be delivered in person at the public hearing. Written correspondence will be posted to the city's website and distributed to the Planning Commission. If you choose to email your comment, please indicate the subject in the subject line for public comment and indicate the item number. Members of the public may be allotted up to 2 minutes to comment on any hearing or study session. Applicants, appellants, and their representative may be allotted up to a total of 5 minutes for opening statements and up to a total of 3 minutes maximum for closing statements. Items requested, recommended for continuance are subject to Planning Commission's consent at the meeting. Okay, so can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Scissor?
Here.
Commissioner Majewski?
Present.
Commissioner Ostrowski?
Present.
Craig?
Here.
Commissioner Buckland?
Present.
Vice Chair Fields?
Present.
Chair Comcar?
Present. Thank you for that. So next to the minutes, approval of the minutes. This would be for August 12, 2025. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Any changes? Seeing none.
May I make a motion to approve the minutes of August 12th, 2025?
Okay. We have a motion and a second. A roll call, please.
Commissioner Scissor?
Aye.
Commissioner Majewski?
Abstain.
Commissioner Ostrowski?
Aye.
Craig?
Abstain.
Commissioner Buckland?
Aye.
Vice Chair Fields?
Aye.
Chair Comcar?
Aye. Thank you for that. Next, we go to communications. Director?
Chair Kamkar, no communications, no agenda modifications or postponements.
Okay, regarding agenda modifications, can we flip 2 of the items coming up?
And that would, I know we talked ahead of time, just to make clear, that would be items 3 and 4. Is that
Item
correct?
3 and 4, is there a motion to flip them so that we can hear the Commissioner's Subcommittee first and then the commendation? Motion? No?
So moved.
So moved. Okay, second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Seeing none? Maggie?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so next we go to oral communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for individuals wishing to address the Planning Commission on matters of community concern that are not listed on the agenda. In the interest of time, the chair may limit speakers to 5 minutes. Please be aware that state law prohibits the commission from acting on non-agenda items. However, the chair may refer the matters to staff for follow-up. Are there anybody here for oral communications? Seeing none, how about online? Okay, thank you for that. So the next item would be public hearing. This would be for 651 West Hamilton Avenue, Suite 1000, conditional use permit. Public hearing to consider the application of Jeffrey Eaton to allow establishment of a small fitness studio, DBA Lux Lift, with daily early morning hours beginning at 5 a.m., late night activities on the ground floor of a mixed-use building, Alvin's Corner, on property located at 651 Hamilton Avenue, Suite 1000. The application under consideration is a conditional use permit, file number PLN 2025-74. Staff is recommending that this item be categorically exempt from SEQA. Planning Commission action is final unless appealed in writing to the City Council within 10 calendar days. Project planner Larissa, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. Assistant Planner Larissa presenting an item prepared by Senior Planner Daniel Fama. This is item 2, which is a conditional use permit, PLN 2025-74. So as mentioned, the project site is at 651 West Hamilton Avenue. It's zoned as CPD with a general plan land use designation of general commercial mixed use. It's currently developed with a mixed use building with ground floor commercial and upper floor residential with about 4 stories total. And it's located on the northwest corner of the San Tomas Expressway and Hamilton Avenue. The proposal, as mentioned, is for an appointment-based fitness studio. It has late night hours with operational hours beginning at 5 o'clock a.m. The studio will provide activities such as one-on-one training, small group sessions, and also appointment-based access to equipment and facilities. And the maximum will be 12 participants at any given time. As you can see on the project or on the slides, the proposed interior project plans includes a fairly open floor plan with some office space that will be accessed from which is part of the building here on the northwest corner. That will be accessed by the appointment services as described in the project description. This use is classified as a small studio because it will have a maximum of 12 participants at any time, which requires a conditional use permit when the studio occupies 20% or more of a general commercial shopping center or property. The code also defines late night activity as any activity occurring outside the hours of 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So with a 5 o'clock start time, this use will qualify as late night activities and therefore requires a conditional use permit. Some key considerations as further described in the staff report for the Planning Commission is the late night activity, determining if the 5 o'clock operating time is permissible with the conditions that have been put in place. If the use of the studio is compatible with the generally ground floor commercial makeup of the property, if the Planning Commission believes the noise management conditions put in place and the conditional use permit are effective, and whether or not the site can maintain adequate parking as further described in the staff report, which this site does provide. Therefore, based on the staff report and the presentation, staff does recommend that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution approving a conditional use permit to allow the establishment of a small fitness studio with late night activities, which is PLN 2025-74. And I'll take questions at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff? Can we start from that end? Thank you.
I just want to say you've already answered all the questions I have, so thank you. I just wanted to know why this needs CUP. Thank you for including that.
No questions. The 20% one, so it's over 20.
It's about 26%.
And the property, is it like, is it the property of that apartment complex, not like the whole parking lot also with Starbucks?
It's all the ground floor commercial, so it would include the Starbucks and all the ground floor of the property.
Oh, it does?
And the shopping center, yes. So any
Okay.
ground floor commercial would be included in that calculation.
Got it. Okay. Okay. And are they, well, this is an applicant question, but like, are they going to do classes starting at 5? Because we had another one of these a while back that was fitness, but they were actually just gonna open and like do cleanup and stuff at 5 a.m. Is it like operating at 5?
Based on the project description, my understanding is a possibility, but the applicant is here also to answer that question.
Thank you.
Alan, do you have any questions?
Just a note, you said that it's the northwest corner. I think it's the northeast.
That's correct.
Okay. Sorry, I have a thing about catching it.
It's
Um,
northeast
but-
corner of the intersection or the property?
It's on the northeast corner of the mixed-use area.
Property.
Of the property, okay.
But it's the northwest corner of the intersection.
Right. Yeah. I was
Oh, it's the northwest corner of the
intersection.
intersection,
I can-
but I thought oh, maybe I misread that.
Oh, we got it.
So,
We know where it is.
Okay. It's on the east edge of the property.
Yeah.
By the way, I did go there and take a look at the property. Yeah, my only question was going to be about the noise stuff, but your agenda covers all the issues associated with noise. So I don't see anything there that I had a real question with, because there is a residence right above, right? So there's this noise limitation on approximately 70 decibels. Is that correct?
75.
75, okay. And we have although we can't monitor it continuously, we have a stipulation that if there are complaints, that it'll come to us, right?
That's correct. As seen on the conditions of approval, if the city receives verified noise complaints, the business owner shall cooperate with the city to prepare a noise mitigation plan.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
I just-
Yeah, I go by this site almost every day, but
I don't have any questions. They're all answered.
Okay, wonderful.
I've also been by the site and I don't have any questions.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm
Uh,
sorry if we should mention this. I used to go to Penny Lane all the time for Froyo. Not in a while though.
Okay. As for myself, I also had the question regarding the noise, the study. I guess the study started at 95 decibels and it was too high. But 95 decibels, that's really loud, isn't it? I mean, what would be an example of something that generates 95 decibels?
So 95 is the standard as put forth by this group, have the name NOISH. So 95 is the max decibels that you can experience for 1 hour before it starts to impair hearing.
Yes.
Examples of other appliances or other items that could be a 94 dBA would be in the kitchen blenders, food processors, or hair dryers.
Ooh.
Outside would be power mowers, a motorcycle at 25 feet, or an electric drill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 95 is a lot.
But we're limiting to 75, right?
That's correct.
And
95
I
is
looked it up and 75 is like if TV is on at medium volume.
Oh, okay.
So that seemed good by me.
Now, that is what the residents will hear, not the noise inside the studio, is it?
75 will be the source noise.
Oh.
And then the resultant noise is going to be no more than 45, which is the city's code standard.
I see, in the studios above.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you for that clarification. I have no other questions. And no other questions?
Okay, about the hours, I realize that Commissioner Fields asked this thing, because we did have this thing before where they were going to actually have people in the studio at 5 a.m., which seemed to us that necessitated they were going to be showing up earlier. Okay, and so we actually made it I think we made it for 4:45. So we usually have two different operating hour stuff on here. We have the operating hours of the business and then the customer hours. We don't have that. So I guess we can ask the applicant when they come up about that, but I just wanted to make it.
Correct. 5 a.m. is the operational, is the start time as listed on this conditional use permit and in the project description. So that would include staff and or
Okay,
participants.
so no earlier than 5 a.m. is opening.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a good segue into asking the applicant to come up and give us a presentation.
Open the
Is
public
the
hearing.
applicant here?
Public hearing? Open the public hearing?
Yes, I have to open the public hearing. Thank you very much. Please identify yourself and if
Sure.
you wish to. give
Good
us-
evening, everybody. My name is Jeffrey Eden. I'm the architect for the applicant. So I'm
Okay.
I'm the applicant by virtue of my name on the application.
Sure.
My clients were not able to attend tonight, so I'm here on their behalf.
Sure.
And thank you, Larissa, for answering all those really good technical questions. So I'm here to answer any additional questions that you have that pertain.
So
to-
the hours, if you could please say something about the hours.
So as Larissa pointed out, the classes would start no earlier than 5. The staff that arrives will not be making any noise prior to opening the doors for clients at 5 o'clock.
So the staff are coming a little earlier.
Minutes earlier to
Right.
set up, staging weights and things like that, but no noise generation, things like that. But at 5 a.m. is when the classes will start.
So 5
Yeah.
is the first class.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
For the sound volume, the report mentions that there's not any way we're like monitoring the sound.
Mhm.
Is the decibel, does the system have any volume limit that you all are gonna set on it so that you just couldn't crank it past a point where it gets louder than that?
So what they've talked about doing is testing the level of the sound system, which isn't even installed yet.
Sure.
And then identifying what 75 decibels is, because nobody knows until you crank it up.
Yeah.
So they want to ID that and identify that for all staff. This is the limit of the volume of our classes.
Is that something that they can lock in the system, or is it sort of still
I don't know the specs of their sound system, and that sounds pretty advanced.
Some have the
No,
capable.
I mean, today,
Yeah.
that's probably a thing, but I don't have the answer whether it does or not. I don't know the specs of the sound system yet, but the other part I mentioned, which is training staff to know what the
Yeah.
level. Yeah.
Great.
Wonderful. Any other questions?
I just, and just in terms of understanding what this place is are there going to be workout machines and weights
Training.
and anything else?
Yeah, I mean, the classes revolve around weightlifting. So as Larissa showed you in the sketch, there's a rack system, for squat rack and things like that. There are free weight areas. There's some, I'll call it boxing apparatus and things like that for a little cardio. And then there's open space for more cardio and those types of fitness and stretching and things like that.
Okay.
So it's not I would call this a boutique gym, and it's by appointment. It's very, it's for people who want to spend a little money to have a little more privacy and a little more specialized instruction. So it's not the big open gym and everybody's showing off.
And is it like one-on-one, one instructor, one or not?
There'll be classes, there'll be some group classes, but very small. As Larissa pointed out, 12 is the max, occupancy. So they'll have
Oh, I
classes of a few and,
I see.
but not, there are some one-to-one for sure. There's trainer and
So the
training.
12 includes staff?
The what?
12 The 12 includes staff in occupancy, right?
don't
Or no? It
I think
doesn't?
it did. No, I think that's the number of participants and then their staff. But again, even at a one-to-one, they're not, trust me, they're not going to have like 6 people training 6 more people. It's a couple of trainers
Yeah,
at
yeah.
most. So
Got it.
Yeah.
Commissioner Ostrowski, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
There was a in-depth review. Thank you.
Yeah, Larissa always does a great job. Okay, if there are no other questions, thank you very much.
thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
So,
I would like to just
respond.
make some clarifications.
Okay.
So in the staff report, there will be 2 full-time trainers and 1 part-time administrative staff at site. So that will be in addition to the 12 participants.
Got it.
In the project description that the applicant provided, they also mentioned that their sound system was capable of having equalization settings, which would adjust the frequencies of any audio playback to ensure 75 would be the decibel
Yes.
level.
Perfect.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
So because this is part of a development, right? Mixed use development. Was there any process? Did the business have to get approval from some development group that, or the management group that manages the development?
More than likely, as they would have to sign a lease with the property owner or with the management company. It's operates as an apartment complex, so there's no HOA, but there would be a management group that would oversee this type of incoming of businesses.
Okay, are there anyone online that want to ask any questions? Okay, then don't see any. Then I can close public hearing. And commission discussion. Anybody have any thoughts or any motions?
I would just say that, you know, it really makes a lot of sense, this project. I don't see any problems. There was really interesting noise study report in the report, really in depth. I couldn't believe that. But as I was thinking this, you know, there are residents there and they could conceivably be impacted by the noise. Certainly right above that. And by the way, there is a need. I know I don't have to tell you guys that there really actually is a need for something like this at 5 a.m. Believe it or not, there's a good subset of people that need that. But the thing is, there's so many safeguards in our report. If a neighbor complains, the studio must do a mitigation plan, as Larissa said. But also, if the complaints continue, then the staff looks at it and could potentially take away the. So I think there's plenty of safeguards in the unlikely case that there are some residents that are really impacted by this. I think it's fine. Thanks.
And this designation goes with the business. So if the business is sold, the next operator has to comply with the same conditions. Wonderful. Okay. Any other thoughts?
No, I just, you know, it's similar to the one that seems similar to the one that we approved for downtown a year or so ago, the boutique workout thing. Of course, this is different in that there's residents above. So to me, that's a more sensitive issue. And it looks like all the bases were covered on that. And I was just actually, I haven't been over to Penny Lane and Alvin's Corner there. So I was like, they filled up most of the spaces and it looks pretty nice. So I'm in favor of it.
Okay, is there a motion? You are the last.
Hold on. I'll make a resolution. City of Campbell granting approval of a conditional use permit to allow a small fitness studio with daily early morning hours beginning at 5 a.m. late night activities on the ground floor of a mixed use building, Alvin's Corner, on property located at 651 West Hamilton Avenue, Suite 1000, file number PLN 2025-74.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Scissor,
Aye.
Commissioner Wojcicki,
Aye.
Commissioner Ostrowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Craig,
Aye.
Commissioner Bucklander,
Aye.
Vice Chair Fields, Chair Camcar.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Congratulations. All right, next item is new business, and it would be the subcommittee reports. Commissioner Zisser,
All right.
Commissioner Craig.
I'm going to get the PowerPoint up.
We're looking at this one, right?
It's still dated the 22nd of July. Yeah, that's it.
That one's it.
Okay, fellow commissioners and staff. I'll try to, I apologize, it's a little long, but I'll try to move quickly through it. Okay, it's a subcommittee report on notifications and outreach of development projects. So this was intended to look like, can we go to the introduction? Or the overview? Okay, so we're gonna give a little introduction on it. We're gonna talk about notifications and also websites, info on notifications outreach. We're also gonna talk about the notification email sign up. And then we're gonna have some conclusions and recommendations. So if we can go to the introduction. So, next slide. Okay, so we found that at times Campbell residents have complained to the Planning Commission and the council of being unaware of a new development that's come along that's near their property. So we decided to do the subcommittee to look at other local municipalities to see what their process is, as well as looking at not just the notifications, but also what the outreach that we do, as well as other cities with regard to their websites and how they can be involved in getting notifications by email or other means. So it's kind of a three-pronged thing, and we looked at not only the county but and Campbell, but we looked at Cupertino, Los Gatos, Morgan Hill, City of Santa Clara, Saratoga, and Palo Alto. So if we can go to next slide, notifications. So we're going to look at the state law. We're going to talk about mail notification processes that differ, timing notifications that differ, notifications for ministerial approval, and on-site development signs. Next page. So the state law is 65090-94. By the way, Commissioner Craig did a lot of work on this, especially on the notifications area. So if he wants to jump in at any time, please do, Mike. So this provides the basic required notifications. The laws basically require mail notifications to property owners within a 300-foot radius for any development subject to a permit or discretionary approval. The mail notification processes that differ from state, Campbell adheres to the 300-foot radius. However, other cities have moved to a bigger radius of typically 500 to 600 feet, and many go even farther for larger projects. And I think, I believe it's like we have extended it in particular in some circumstances on occasion. Next slide. Timing notices that differ from state law. Campbell sends an initial courtesy notice within 4 days. Others mail notices at a later date, but prior to state requirement. Most adhere to the state requirement. So we actually are an exception here in terms of doing it sooner than most, at least in terms of courtesy notice. Those that received the mail notices, all agencies mail their notices to property owners, and any others who have expressed interest, including neighborhood groups, other stakeholders that get on the list. And then some also notify to the property address. So the requirement is only to go to property owners usually, but since, for example, Campbell is almost exactly 50% renters. So renters don't necessarily get notified since they're not the property owner. So when it's a property owner, it would go to if they're renting the property, that would go to the property owner's mail address, which could be, somewhere else, including being somewhere else in the country. But there are some cities that notify at the property address as well. Next slide. Notifications for ministerial approval projects. because of many new state laws, as we all know, with the use of objective standards, many more projects are now going to be ministerial, which aren't generally subject to notification requirements. However, some cities in the county have enacted policies to require notification in certain cases, such as SB 9, ADUs, things like that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you're saying for SB 9s, there would be notification of the neighbors? I didn't know that.
No, we're saying that some cities are doing that notification, even though it's not necessarily a requirement because it's if it's ministerial. Is that right?
Yeah, ministerial, but
Yeah.
interesting.
So even when there's a ministerial, there are some cities that are including circumstances where they would be notified anyway. And that could be whether a lot split, ADUs, things like that. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Okay.
On-site, next on-site development signs. There is no actual requirement from the state for signs on site, except in lieu of a newspaper ad, which is the standard. So, you know, we always have a requirement to put in a newspaper ad. You know, it's usually in the metro, which is just kind of a requirement that not necessarily people are going to see. So, but there are a lot of cities. We're actually the exception to not normally using signage, except in rare instances. And then various agencies vary their requirements of when they put up signage. And this is the signage that would be on the site to notify people on the street. So that covers most of the notification requirements. Well, so the next thing that we did is we wanted to look at what Campbell does and other cities do in terms of providing information on their websites as an outreach to the community. Obviously, there's no really real requirements for putting information on the websites, but the county and most cities provide a lot of information on their websites, often using the GIS, almost all of them using the GIS maps. Actually, the exception is really that the county doesn't really have GIS maps for projects. They have it for just about everything else, but not so much for new projects. The problem with the web, almost without exception, the problem with the websites, it's not easy for people who are lay people who aren't familiar with the city's operations to find these maps or any other information on projects, because they don't necessarily know where to look. They don't know what a community development department is. They don't know it necessarily would be in planning. And for the most part, you have to go to the community development page or the planning page to find these. Very few actually have anything on the home page. A lot of the cities have this menu item that says, a link that, for what you want, and then it's a long menu item, but almost none of the cities actually have something on that menu, that drop-down menu that says, recent projects. So usually you have to know where to go. Yes.
So my understanding was that when you say project, is that completed project or like proposals to do a project?
But we're talking primarily about new projects that come in. So when an application comes in for a new project.
Right.
Now there are stuff on websites where they have completed projects as well, but this was focused on the idea that when a new project comes along and it's an application and it's like, where people can go to find the information about these new projects that are in their neighborhood and in the city.
So, so then, I'm sorry, a follow-up question. So my understanding was while you're in planning, information will not be given out to the residents because you haven't held a public hearing.
Well, that's not true. A development project, they submit a preliminary application.
Which
And
is
then-
private. I don't think, Director, does the department share, let's say I, as a developer, come in, say, I want to build, so many condos. You don't share that with the public right away, right? You have to vet it first, you have to go through that first, or how does that work?
We actually do. Yeah, Commissioner Cray actually asked me about this. We have a email list anyone can sign up for, which when applications come in, we notify the public that we received an application.
Oh, okay.
Equivalent to early notification, just so folks are aware. And we actually do send out early notification. It's not codified in municipal code, but the planners have a practice of sending out early notification mailers to neighbors within a radius. Again, just to let them know there's been an application for, say, a cell tower or.
What about plans and, reports and things like that? Do you also share that?
Those can be accessed usually from our
The
website.
link?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, what I saw on all the cities was that the early applications, whatever information that was submitted by the developer seems to be there. Not only the letter, but whatever preliminary plans they've included
Reports,
in the
yeah.
preliminary application
Got it.
is available.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, great.
The problem is getting to that. So,
Okay.
so as I was saying, it's not, the big problem with finding it on the website is not always easy for users to navigate to the right spot, and it's not obvious, okay? And once you get there, in some cases, it's not necessarily always broken down properly to see the difference between, certain kinds of projects, for that matter, whether it's, actually go to the next slide. So we actually have about a half a dozen examples of screenshots in the report. I only put up a couple. So this is Campbell's, and Campbell's is, once you get to this place through the planning page, you get to the GIS map, and there's 7 tabs. And the one that's the most relevant tab for projects is the planning, the active planning tab, which is the second tab there. And this is the map for it. And if you look at the left-hand side, you'll see that in our estimation, one of the problems is that it pretty much includes everything. It doesn't narrow it down or delineate or filter. It shows the icons for anything from a sign permit to a tree removal to a major project. So it's kind of like everything in the pot. It's a nice map, but it's not necessarily the best one we saw. And then you do, on the right-hand side, you see a drop-down menu that shows when you click on one of the icons, it gives you the name of the project, it gives you the number, and it gives you, you can scroll down and find a link to the project plans or whatever information you want. So that's a good thing. That's pretty typical. We go to the next one, which is actually, in some respects, I think one of the better, the city of Morgan Hill. And what's nice about the city of Morgan Hill is they have a particular GIS map that just breaks down substantial projects that are residential, commercial, and industrial. And as you can see on the left-hand menu, they differentiate those and list them separately. So in the residential area, there's actually 26 items. I only showed 4 of them, but you can blow that out and see all the 26 residential items that are going on. And the same thing with commercial and industrial. So you get a real nice picture of what's going on in the city. And they're just focused on new major projects in this area. So you're not seeing, you know, when somebody wants an HVAC update or a permit for a tree removal or whatever. So this is one of the nicer examples, if not the nicest examples, of using the GIS and filtering it and breaking it out for the obvious projects that would be of interest. So I've just shown those two examples, but there are other examples. For instance, Saratoga, in the report, we show Saratoga, which when they don't really have have all projects. What they do have is all their builder's remedy projects listed on the homepage and on their community development page. And because they have 20, well, the count that I had at the time was 22 builder's remedy projects in Saratoga. And so there was so much response from the community that they put it up on the website. And what they've done is very nicely, they've listed all the builder's remedy projects. And you can see it on a map. And if you click on it, they actually designate an entire page for each builder's remedy project with the pictures and links to the detailed plans, all aspects of what's come in on that project. So once people get to that and it's a little bit more readily available and shows, I think it's in their community development page, and it's right there on the main menu that people can see all the builder's remedy projects. So they've done a nice job in terms of those specific projects, which are the major projects potentially going on in Saratoga. And then there's other good examples. City of Mountain View has like a 3D map, and Palo Alto has a number of good aspects to their information as well as pretty much as well as Los Gatos. We go to the next, the notification. So that was covering the website. So the other thing we want to look at is like, if you want to find out more and you want to sign up for a regular email, what can a resident do? So there's all, we researched all the cities and for their type of sign up on their websites. And it varies in terms of, there's all kinds of signups. You can get a sign up for any events that are happening, meetings. There's some newsletters that people put out. So there's all kinds of signups. The problem is sometimes, again, finding the sign up page is difficult. It's not obvious. There's no clear link that jumps out at you necessarily on the homepage. I think there was one particular city that had a nice big, headline for signups. We couldn't find any county, although they may have them, where you can sign up for things from the county, other than general stuff. So some cities offer dozens of sign-up choices. Campbell has the record, apparently. They have 60 choices. Basically, what they've done is, I think it's part of the standard template for the people that do our websites is, I haven't shown a screenshot for that, but if you want to find it, you can look for yourself. It's basically, you can sign up for every individual board and commission agenda to come, to notify you of that. You can, so that alone, and then there's kind of a duplication where it's not necessarily agenda, but it's information about the commission in another way. So there's literally 60 listings, and that you can sign up either for a text notification or for an email notification. And then there actually is, in our case, we do have one that we all get actually because we're on the commission that tells us about new projects that have come in. But it's hard to find that one. It's buried in amongst the 60. So can we move on? Okay, we're at conclusions. Okay, so we concluded a number of things. One is that Campbell and all the cities and county go above and beyond their basic state requirements on notifications, but each agency has its own wrinkles. As I indicated, everyone has a little bit different way of taking a look at how to do their notifications, depending on in terms of distance and when and those kinds of things. All the cities and county greatly extend notifications for the most controversial and biggest projects, but for some, including Campbell, the guidelines for this extended notification are subjective. So it's not like codified that we will go to 1,000 feet for this particular kind of project. And that seems to be common. It's like it's kind of a subjective decision amongst cities. And then when it comes to signage, we're amongst the few cities that really have no on-site signage requirements. So the next conclusion is that the big increase in the percentage of projects that are approved ministerially has been prodding cities and counties to reconsider the noticing process beyond the legal requirements. So the question becomes, even if it's not required to notify on a ministerial, say we built, like now we're up to 10 units, it could be ministerial. 10 units is a lot of units in a neighborhood. It's like, shouldn't the neighbors be, the question is, shouldn't the neighbors be notified anyway, even if it's not required?
Question.
Yes.
So let's say you notify the neighbors and they come, but let's say like SB 9 or 684 doesn't allow the neighbors to, there's no public hearing. I mean, what can they say? If there's no public hearing, how can they be heard? And so that's the part I don't quite understand.
Yeah, I would say, let me answer that one, Matt. And that really was one of the big wrinkles in all this when we're going through this. So California and all the agencies have over the years developed pretty good systems for informing public about public hearings, because they want they can't have a public hearing if the public doesn't know about it. So there are a lot of mechanisms. So the new wrinkle now, and its major change is, you used to have this many projects with public hearings. Now you get this many public hearings, but you still have that many projects.
Yeah.
So it's something all the planners are wrestling with, including Campbell. What kind of input are you going to get from people when there's nothing that they can really do, nothing they could say. It's approved already. The state has one reason that the public hearings and our system is one reason why so many developments were blocked over the years and why we've run into this big housing crisis that we're in. So, but now it's a question of, and it's solely a question of courtesy. Do you think it's better to let these people know now ahead of time, hey, there's going to be an ADU right over your fence. There's going to be a lot split down, down the block. There's going to be 10 units on the corner. Even though they can't do anything about it, but at least you've told them. And if you don't tell them, then it's built, and then they'll probably still have the same complaints, or maybe there'll be more complaints because, hey, why didn't you tell us ahead of time? Why don't you give us some notice? So some of the cities are specifically, some of this, I don't want to get the wrong city. I think it's Palo Alto specifically. They do want to notify folks when they're doing ADUs, when they're doing SB 9 lot splits. What they're wrestling with is, do they want to notify them before they've officially ministerially approved it? Or do they want to do it after the fact, a little bit after the fact? And it's a conundrum for the planning staff to just figure out, what's going to happen. So your question is exactly, the question we have. We're looking at this and go, well, that's really a pretty big change. And what are you going to do?
Well, I think the goal was to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
Can we take a step back and what is I understand the state has certain requirements and we are all meeting or exceeding them, but what exactly is the goal here? What are we trying to accomplish?
Well, we have recommendations.
Right, but like, what is the purpose of those recommendations? Like, are we trying to avoid being yelled at by people who wish they had been notified? We trying get people to come in and give comment on things which they cannot affect, which seems like a poor idea. What is the?
Well, there's two parts to it, Adam. One is for those where they're required to be notified, and we found that I know of at least two instances where neighbors complained they didn't get notification. So for those that still require notification, we want to make sure that the system is working right, or if maybe we need to go farther, so that those that will continue to be ones where it's going to come in front of the planning commission, that the notifications are there and comprehensive enough to make sure that neighbors get their notifications. So that's one thing. The other thing is where there's not a requirement for notification and it's more of a courtesy to our residents. The question is, what should the city do in that respect? Do we feel that that residents, I mean, there may not be a meeting that they come to. If somebody's building an ADU 2 feet from their back fence, as we've seen just recently, maybe that resident, it would be a courtesy for that resident to know about it, such that maybe they can have a discussion with their neighbor about it, and there might be an adjustment that works out between them. So, to me, it's not about just meeting the legalities. It's a question of what residents feel that they should be able to know about, even when it's not coming up in front of a body to get approval for. Okay. So there's two parts there, right? One is like, let's make sure the notifications that have to go out are going out right and enough. 300 feet is not a lot necessarily when you consider road widths, lot sizes. It's actually a relatively, if you take a standard neighborhood of 60 by 100 foot parcels, it doesn't cover much of the neighborhood. It's like a block this way, block that way, or half a block on each side and a block on each side. So there's not a lot of coverage, and in some cases, there's streets in the way, so that actually makes it even a lesser radius, in terms of actually covering, sufficient neighbors. So a lot of cities have moved beyond 300 feet, to get a better coverage. And so, it's up to the city. We're going to recommend, we have some recommendations that if you all agree that those are good recommendations, that will go to the city council, and then they can discuss it with the staff and decide whether or not we want to make some adjustments.
Commissioner Ostrowski, please.
So I have a question. Thank you for that very thorough subcommittee review. I think it's very
We're not quite
useful.
done yet. But
Oh, I
ahead.
thought we were on the conclusion slide.
Yeah.
Okay, I was curious if you had recommendations that we could discuss.
Yeah, it's the last page.
Okay, great.
All right. So let's just get through the last couple conclusions. Can we turn the page?
I think the conclusions are the
So
same
we've
as
got,
the recommendations, so we can just go to the rec.
Okay, so I'm just going to say that the conclusions are cities and county can greatly improve their websites to make easier for users to find basic information. Most of the websites provide helpful GIS mapped information, but defining the resource can be very difficult. Also, cities and the county could improve their email notification sign-up systems. And an example is that Campbell's has 60 listings. So to go to the recommendations, we have 6 recommendations. So first,
I think you've covered, I think we could all start reacting to them now.
all right, can I just real quickly go through the 6 since I've gone
They
through
were
everything
They were
else?
in the report you mailed and you talked through them all. I feel like it would be redundant to say them again. And we could all
Okay.
start reacting to them.
All right. I'm hoping everybody has read. I would just, in one case, we are recommending extending the mailings to a higher radius. We also are consider extending mailings for large projects that would be based on, for like a commercial project, possibly be based on square footage, unless the staff has better ideas. Square footage, if it's a large square foot thing, and it's a new commercial, then it's like, okay, what's the square footage that would extend the notifications? Or in the case of residential, a certain number of units might be the break point. And then I think on, I don't know, we also are recommending going to street addresses, not just the owners, because of many people rent. And we believe that any resident should be notified, whether they're a renter or an owner. And then I think the last one was, as far as Campbell's concerned, is to take a look at our sign up list, which is 60 items, and do some possible consolidation and to make it a more concise list of choices that will cover every possible thing without having 60 of them. So that's the recommendations.
I would just say one point that's kind of an important one is there's so much area we covered, we just couldn't do everything. So we did not look at costs. The whole issue of what it would cost the city, in some cases, what it might potentially cost the developer as well. And I know we're trying to cut developer costs. So we just left that out of the equation because that was just too much.
Yeah, I think that would be something that staff would want to determine in terms of, how much more it's going to cost them to do notifications to 500 or 600 feet or 1,000 feet. What's the out-of-pocket costs on that kind of thing, or the resource costs? But that's something that we're not going to put on them or make a decision about. So that's it.
I'll also just say, and I think maybe Ellen did, but every city in the county, they've all grappled with this issue in the past and kind of continually. Santa Clara was just making changes as we were studying this. Rob himself has worked on it when he was with the county. So it's an issue for all jurisdictions. It's kind of an ongoing thing. And as they all said, you're never going to be 100%. You're never going to there's always going to be somebody who didn't hear something that they should have heard, and something's going to fall through the cracks. Usually it's not the city's fault, but still it's going to happen. So there's nothing perfect.
Suggested way to discuss, have Rob react to this, just if staff has any thoughts on the recommendations, and then have the other 5 commissioners that didn't make the recommendations each kind of give their take on them, and we use
On
that.
each one, right?
Yeah,
On each one, okay.
Well, collectively,
Yes.
Adam talks about and then we.
Well, because the reason I say each one, because, I may be in favor of some, but not in favor of the other, so.
I guess I'm trying to avoid us talking about 30 different line items. We could probably.
Well, I'm talking about the recommendation, the 6th recommendation. That's what I was talking about, is just, sort of bring it up and do if there's majority says, yeah, makes sense, fine. If says, no, we need to discuss this. And the reason I say this because I was actually subject to one of these issues. We got a thing for our neighborhood. There was going to be a, shelter at the end of our street, and 500 of us went to understand what's going on. This was San Jose, city of San Jose contacting us because they were putting it in San Jose. And so after an hour and a half of being there, then finally we understood. They've already done it. They already decided. They were going to put it there. It was all done. They were just telling us about it afterwards. And so imagine 500 angry residents realizing we can't do anything about it. They actually had to call police, to make sure they're present, So, that's the so-called other side of it, is getting people riled up on something that they can't do anything about.
Should I just make a point that on the recommendations, if you look at the recommendations starting on page 13 or 14 of report, most of them start out, Campbell should consider. Okay, so what we're saying is we're asking the council to take a look at this and consider a recommendation to whatever, extend the radius, do the notifications for things that aren't necessarily required. So we're not saying the city must do this. We're offering our recommendations to the city to consider it. That said,
Okay,
happy
thank
to
you.
hear all of it.
So I'd like to hear from the other members of the commission that haven't said anything. What do you guys think about?
Can we hear from Rob?
Okay, let's
And then
start with Rob. Thank
And
you.
you do have Commissioner Trust.
start with
Commissioner-
Maggie, then Rob.
Okay, Maggie, do you wanna go first and then Rob?
I will yield my, my priority order to Rob.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Director, you're it.
Sure, I can provide you my broad thoughts. And I met with Commissioners Isser and Cray. I mean, I guess I'll say up front, one, always acknowledge and appreciate the efforts put in by Commissioner ad hoc. It's very unusual. You don't find a lot of cities with commissioners who are willing to do the research. So off the gate, kudos to you on taking the time to do it. And honestly, parts of this, if we just want to put in a white paper and share with the other community development directors, happy to, because it's good research, right? People should know benchmarks and where things are at. And to Commissioner Zisser's point, I did a deep dive in this 10 years ago at the county where we did a major overhaul and put up signs, and I think we went 4 yards and a lot of this stuff, so I have some history with it. I think generally, I would agree that certain projects that garner a lot of attention, and you've seen them, certain commercial projects with drive-throughs or wireless communication facilities, generally, as an industry standard, probably a broader radius isn't a bad thing. And from a staff perspective, there's a broader cost, but if we look at that, but there's an economy of scale off of the bigger projects. And there's thresholds you can establish, the size of the building or different type that triggers it. So that's not abnormal. And from a staff standpoint, I'd say that that's helped a lot of times versus people having hunt those down. On the ministerial, totally appreciate the perspectives of Commissioner Crane Zisser. I would say both cost-wise, that does cost a lot more. We issued a ton of building permits for ADUs and other ministerial projects. And I would be very cautious on letting folks know something has been applied for. And if they're aggrieved by it, that they should contact the city, but there's really nothing the city can do about it. So from a staff perspective, be cautious on that. We do require signage with construction a lot of times. So when you put up a construction fence, notify people construction hours and runoff and contacts. There's a possibility to build off of that to say certain projects. We have to put up a sign before construction to let folks know actually what's been constructed. So that's something we can look at. On the notices, I will give kudos to Ken. If anyone's seen our notices, they're actually really good. They're postcards and they're colored. And this is just my riffing a little bit to Commissioner Kamkar's point. As a San Jose resident, I just got a notice last night from San Jose. I couldn't understand it. It talked about rezoning, and I'm a trained planner, but it was in a language that was really hard for me to understand. So I'll just say, if you're in Campbell and you do get a notice, the postcards are really colorful and they show you what's being proposed, and it gives you a good option to contact folks. Other than that, we actually have made some upgrades on our website, so totally appreciate the feedback. It's a little more accessible. We have limits by our GIS provider on how much you can do, but actually some of your recommendations are already in there. Happy to follow back with some screenshots if you like. So, those are my broad comments. Happy to provide more.
Thank you. Commissioner Ostrowski, would you like to go next?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thank you for those additional pieces of information, Director. I did want to add, I didn't see on the recommendation, but putting up signage, I do think is a good idea, because if there's something in the neighborhood and it's something that's going to impact a particular radius of people, then those are the people that are going to be they're going to be accessing that sign. If you're going to walk by or you're a neighbor, a sign is a great way to be informed that something's coming. And I do believe we need to notify neighbors of projects, even if there is nothing that, they can do if there's a ministerial review. Because I think people should be informed and given a heads up of changes that are going to be taking place in their neighborhood that are going to impact them. There may be decisions that property owners might want to make as a result of that information. And if we can increase the zoning or the notifying radius, I think that would also be helpful. I agree with the comments that the 300 is pretty small. And those are my comments.
Okay, thank you for that. Commissioner Bookbinder?
I didn't get this firsthand, possibly because it may have been sent to my previous work address. Please go back to the first page and I'll, it's the second page recommend. The first page of recommendations.
Oh. It's like 13. Recommendations. Yeah,
There you
go.
I would like to note that it seems like 600 feet is doubling the amount of notifications to be sending out. It is not. It is quadrupling it. Remember, area scales as square radius. So moving it to 1,000 feet is multiplying it by 11. We are notifying 11 times as many people.
But isn't it by a factor of 4?
But we're going from 300 to 1,000 feet.
Oh, to 1,000. Okay.
So it's squared, which is 100 over 9, which is about 11. That's 1,000 feet is not a small distance. 600 feet is definitely, like 300 feet is not a small distance. I'm skeptical of the need to do this. Like if you notify people, people will find something to be upset about. I've seen people talk about privacy impacts from something that is like 300 feet away and for a stand of trees. I'm skeptical of the value of that. Next page, please. I realize the other cities are doing it. I don't think it's a good idea for them to be doing that either. I endorse notifying tenants. They live here more so than the property owners. I think they have a bigger stake. Also, I endorse the website and improving our email signups. Those sound like perfectly reasonable. Those are my comments.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other commissioners want to pipe up?
Sure. Yeah, I just looked at the site and it was quite confusing and like maybe when I was starting, but now it looks pretty clear and easy to navigate. I do agree, like it would be nice to have all of these locations, the courtesy notices possibly mapped. That can be done with like a Google widget. Pretty easy, I've done it before. Something like that would be nice, but I don't think it's totally necessary. I have pretty mixed feelings on increasing our radius of notification, especially for small things that I feel like is just going to cost the city more and to what benefit really. It is courteous, yes, but I don't know if I see the benefit really. Those are my main thoughts.
Thank you. Vice Chair, any other comments? Or?
Yeah, going through them, Adam makes a good point. I would just love ultimately probably to see the cost benefit ratio on this of like looking at what 500 would really mean. I don't know. The postcards are nice. How expensive are they? Is there some guy that we pay who's writing people's addresses to like, I don't know. It seems like that could be expensive. So it would be nice to understand like what we're really signing up for there. I like what Rob said, maybe even more, which is like when we did the conditional use permit, you basically saw that there's like a really small set of uses people care about and show up for. And like, maybe those are the ones we do the big radius on and everything else we keep to 300. So I think that's a little bit more where my head is at, is there's like specific uses that you would amp up notification for as opposed to it being kind of blanket. I really like C. The whole report was great. Like this, I remember you now sent it like a month ago or whatever that was, but I remember reading it. I was like, man, this is like very thorough.
So thorough.
Great work. So want to note that. I do think the city map is still a little opaque. I would love it just to be over a Google map that, like Corey was just saying, that was like just a little bit easier to navigate. I just think this is a little too difficult for people to find and then use. I tried to do this. I was emailing with Rob like a year ago when I saw a new business that was building something, and then I was trying to figure out what it was, and I like could not do it on the website, and had to email Rob, which that doesn't scale. So E does stand up as me as an opportunity area as well as F.
Okay, thank you for that. And to be honest with you, I feel the same way as the Vice Chair, Commissioner Majewski and Commissioner Bookbinder, in the sense that Cambo is a pro-housing. We just got our pro-housing designation. So anything that I think will chill that effect probably is not going in the same direction as we are. Commissioner Zizera and I attended the State of the City address, and this pro-housing designation was a big deal, and they brought it up in that meeting as well. So increasing it from 300, I play soccer. To me, 300 is 100 yards, which is length of a soccer field, and to me, that's pretty big, especially with smaller lots in Cambo. It's probably a block, and so generally you're interested to know what's going on in your block, not blocks away, and so for those reasons, I think 300 is a good notification distance for now. If the project is a major, size, then of course, it's got to increase, and it's got to, but on the other aspect of the report, I thought it was done very thoroughly. I was very impressed. You reached out to so many cities. That's fantastic. I thought you would have that, maybe Las Garas and Cupertino, maybe, Saratoga, but then you went way beyond that, and that's incredible. So thank you. Thank you for that. I certainly have been educated in some of the items, thank you for that. So that's it.
May I make a comment? Since everybody else is, and just to clarify a couple of things. So, on the 1,000 feet, what we're recommending is only for large projects. For example, the Hickory Pit one. Okay, that would fall into a large project. So we're not talking about 1,000 feet for very many projects in the city, okay? So the thing that I thought about is, just practically speaking, is when I look at the Hickory Pit one, the nearby neighborhoods are Union Avenue neighborhoods and the Pruneyard Dry Creek neighborhood, which is what they came out in mass, right? All the way to Lee. So a 300 or 500 foot distance doesn't capture those neighborhoods entirely, okay? I don't have a map in front of me to show me, but to get to encompassing much of the neighborhoods that are adjacent takes, 300 feet gets you probably a half a block up from, across the street, and a half a block up, okay? So 300 feet on depth, when you're going 100 foot lots and going that way, that's actually 2.5 houses when you count the streets, okay? So it's only one block over. 60 foot lots, it's 5 houses on one side, 5 houses on the other. So we're talking on big projects. I believe you want to capture a significant part of that area to notify people, okay, so that they have the opportunity to know that something's going on. I see it all the time. People don't know what's going on in the city. I see it all the time on Nextdoor. So that's the way I looked at it is for a large project, you want to go out and you want to capture the entire neighborhood. Now, we're only going to see those. It's not going to be, it's not going to be one a month, we could speculate on how much it will be. Okay. But
I think we've stated.
so
our
I'm just saying the
positions.
1,000 feet is not every time. The question of going from 305, we're talking, first of all, about jumping up the radius on projects that are required to be notified. Okay? So many of the projects are going to go away ministerial. Okay? And the ministerial ones would be a shorter radius. Say an ADU could be all the adjacent properties. And a lot split could be 300 feet. Okay? So we're not talking about everything going to 500 or 600 feet. We're talking about those where a notification is required, and which means that it's going to be a big, it's going to be more than 10 units. Now we can also say if it's a 5 to 10 unit, we want to go farther too, because I think that 5 to 10 units is a fairly significant development in your neighborhood. So I think the neighborhood probably should know about it, even if they're not required to be notified about it. So to me, the question is courtesy versus requirement. And I'm favoring, like Commissioner Ostrowski said, I favor notifying people even when it's not required. The question is, how many people get notified? So that's just my point there. As far as the signage goes, I'm not quite sure why we didn't have a recommendation about signage. I think the staff talked us out of it because of the complexities of doing signage. So certainly we are open to looking at the signage thing, but we didn't put it in the recommendations. And Commissioner Ostrowski said that she feels that signage is something that we should take a look at, which we can have staff take a second look at that.
Okay.
That's all I got.
So we've heard from all commissioners. Should we do a like a roll call on?
I guess we
I
should.
think this is
maybe
more
ask
of a
Rob.
discussion.
This
Yeah.
is more of
A study
a
session.
discussion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we've all given our thoughts and our positions on it. I guess that's it.
Well, I guess my question is, I was under the impression that the report would at some point go to council. Okay, for their review. So it's more than a study session. So the question is, whether we approve the report for council to see, and in what form does the report go there? If I'm not
So
mistaken.
the issue is, if you want to make a recommendation, then it's got to be from the body, not from. two
I understand
commissioners,
that. That's
so-
why we're discussing it.
But if,
So-
but
I'd
if,
be comfortable with just including the summary of the discussion that's been had here as reflecting the
And the report.
opinion
I
of
guess
the
so.
commission.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to bring this back. I think there's like,
Yeah.
this staff feel that the opinion of the commission as a body has been appropriately expressed.
Probably not. Well, I mean, you accepted the report, that's obvious. I was taking notes. I mean, you got a couple options. One would be, and you've been down this road before. I mean, so at one end, it would be if you're unanimous, these are all great recommendations, you make a motion to forward the recommendations to the council. So for example, the economic development subcommittee work, I think landed that bucket last year. So that's one. It'd be like a strong recommendation to the council. Another would be, we've done this report and it provides something for you to consider, and you'd just like to pass a report on to council. And for benchmarking, I think I'm trying to remember the homeless declaration of emergency homeless situation, butchering the title. You guys did
Yeah,
great
I
work on
remember
that.
that. Yeah.
Last year sort of fell in that bucket. Or if you want to take the report and say, here's the report, there's general consensus on 1 to 2 things that we strongly feel you should consider, sort of a middle ground where you could say, here's the report, and the commission believe that, you know, these 2 or 3 things out of it, the council should consider. So it would provide a bit more clarity on next steps, if you want to land in one of those.
Right, I mean, I definitely go with what the committee, when the commission wants to do, but to me, we can't pass this report on to the council unless we do what you just said on these points, on these recommendations, the commission was unanimous. These other recommendations, the commission was, commission was not unanimous or even as a whole, because by my count, it was 4-3. There was 3 commissioners saying, let's increase the distance. 4 commissioners said we're comfortable with 300. So if this were to become a vote, that recommendation would not pass. And that's why I would feel uncomfortable passing something to council saying commission recommends this when.
That's why I was saying, like, including, I'd be happy to pass it, including a summary of the discussion that's been had.
Would you do that? We are being recorded, right? So you can go back and check to see what's.
Well, if you can come up with a fairly detailed description of the varying views of the commissioners on the recommendations. Yeah, I mean, if the commissioners are agreeable to approve the report contingent on the different positions of commissioners that were stated, and that there's a substantial addendum to it that states that summarizes varying positions. I don't have a problem with that. I also don't have a problem with redoing it to submit it with a change, but it would seem to me that's a reasonable solution.
I'm hesitant to send something that has a recommendation on it, Can the report without the recommendation be, passed on, because
That's totally fine. Yeah, you've done the work.
it's
and
those
request to
recommendations, I
forward the
think, that
report to
may
council. Yeah.
that may misrepresent the majority of the commission, I feel.
And we'll, of course, we'll have minutes that come out of this and do our best to
Well,
capture those.
I'm not comfortable with having a report without recommendations.
No.
I suspect Mike's the same way.
Okay, alternative idea. It seems like we were unanimous on C, E, and F, which is extended to property owners and street addresses, improve the website, make email signups easier. No one was against any of those, right?
Right.
Okay. We're unanimous on C, E, and F. We were mixed and aren't going to make a unanimous referral for the other 3.
Yeah.
Then we put that as the
Can't we just
summary.
reflect that in our report to the council?
Does
Sounds
that
good to me.
get closer to a?
Yeah, if that's the consensus of the commission,
That sounds
happy to
right.
forward
I
that on.
think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's happening,
Good.
yeah.
Okay.
And they could
I
see
like it.
everything and they'll know
Yeah,
that way
and then
we
they can
agreed on
look and
3,
discuss and-
we were
yeah.
mixed on a couple. And
So one last thing, just giving you facts after the fact. Ken was running quick numbers. So it'd be about it's about $45 per notice now for 300-foot radius. And with all the printing and mailing, it probably goes up by about 4 times. So that's, am I getting that right, Ken?
180.
Multiply by
But of course, the point we made though is there's a lot fewer of them. So
Yeah, I mean, if your recommendation was, say, hey, the high benchmark projects, the biggest ones, it would just apply to those.
well, there's a lot fewer public hearings. That's the one. We're just talking about the 6 and 300 one, I think, right?
The question becomes, if that's the increment, what's the multiplication number of that in terms of a year for budgetary purposes? I mean, are we talking a few $1,000s? Versus, are we increasing? Is going to require a couple $1,000s more for notifications for the year? I mean, that's the number, right? And so if it's $150, $140 more per notification, right? Whatever.
Ken, go
Then
ahead.
how many notifications do we send out in a year?
So it depends on the volume that you guys were talking about. The original rough numbers, figures that you guys were looking at when you were looking at different permits, ADUs, things like that. Just a considerable figure to look at is they take in about 2,400 permits, right? And so just a 2,400 permits at about $1.40 a piece, depending on the times that they notice and when you're noticing, yeah, you're looking at $250,000 per year just on noticing. Now, that's just on owners alone. Now, when you're looking at owners and tenants and businesses, then you're looking at
What are those,
600,
what are those, how many permits?
2,400.
Yeah, but what are those permits? What are the, all the, I mean, are those all kinds of permits?
The building permits,
Just building permits?
that's just building permits, not pipe.
Well, that gets into recommendation D, which we're not unanimously recommending.
Those are hard figures without looking at
Sure.
all the different pieces.
So I guess based on your recommendation, we would, the recommendation is expand the radius on the big projects.
Yeah.
It would, the cost would go up 45 times 4 to 160.
180.
And we'd figure out what that benchmark is. And generally we pass the cost on to the applicant. Pay for it, so just providing that.
I just want to be clear, on the building permits, we're also talking about a second story. We're talking about a second story on a house or a single house being built, because we're not recommending increasing radiuses on small ministerial items. That's not in the recommendations. So if a large number of these 2,400 permits, building permits, are adding a second story, putting in one new house, whatever it is, because I don't see us we're not building 2,400 multi-units in Campbell here, right? I mean, the 2,400 number boggles my mind. So the question is, what's the real number in terms of building permits for specific ministerial ones like SB9, ADU, or multiple unit ones that are like over 5 units or whatever the number is, okay? And that's not 2,400 units. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, no, that's correct.
I think maybe at this point, Rob, it would be just a case of when you forward to the city council, you could put these cost estimates in there so they have an idea what we're talking about and kind of look into it a little more in depth. We can't do this right now.
Yeah, I understand. But I don't like saying it's going to be another $200,000 when it's not really necessary.
Yeah,
Another 200,000.
unless it is, but we need to figure that out.
And that's why we left it to the staff to like deal with the money issue.
Yeah, we just.
So just so I'm hearing correctly, report passed on to council and Commissioner generally, has recommendation on C, E, and F. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Got
And had mixed opinions
it.
on
And
the
all the rest of it. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that works. Sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Do we need to vote on it?
No.
Okay.
All right, next item would be the commendation service for our two departing commissioners. So Commissioner Cray and Commissioner Ostrowski, if I may start, I have certainly learned so much from both of you. You guys were both here when I arrived, and the way you approach the items and the way you conduct yourself, I think is very professional. It's fantastic, and you guys are come prepared for the items, and so Campbell is lucky to have you, and hope that you do not stop your volunteering, on other projects and everything. Anybody else wants to chime in? Please go ahead.
Sure. I've had the pleasure of being on the planning commission for 4 years with both Mike and Maggie, and I hold them in high regard. I've always found that their inputs have been relevant and meaningful, and that they're thorough and consistently thorough in their researching and evaluating the projects. So I've been very pleased being on the commission with both of you for 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
And I'm sorry to see you both go, and hope we stay in contact. Thank you very much.
So we have recommendations for you, and like to
Okay, thank you.
hand over, and then we will get this to Commissioner Ostrowski.
Yes, yes. Oh, I just want to like throw in just a few more.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for always being so nice about the cookies and taking interest in Robin.
Exactly.
Just, it's been nice getting to work with you. And Commissioner Ostrowski, thank you also for being nice about the cookies, taking interest in Robin. It's been really nice working with you. Like, I appreciate the technical aspects of what we do, but it's also just like, it's great to meet people. I really like, I'm staying up late and missing my family on 2 Tuesdays a month. I'm glad that I get to do it with you folks.
Thank you.
Just really quick.
Please.
I don't say a lot still. I have a lot to learn, but I feel like both of you always have really insightful comments that I'm like, oh, that's something I should think about. So it really has helped me hopefully get better and I'll
Exactly.
continue to do so. So I appreciate you. So.
I think we were also gonna do a picture.
Can I talk too?
Yes. sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Mike, I think I was just always impressed with your diligence, and you'd come with the notepad and you'd come up with questions like across the gamut, and really we're just so thoughtful about both sides and very future looking about like what the city's becoming, and really appreciate that. And then Maggie, you were always such an advocate for the people in the chamber. I think the best of any of us would like listen to them, thank them. You really, I think, had a connection to the constituents that I admire and hope we continue to embody, since that's why we're here. So I really admired that about Maggie, and appreciate both your service.
Good.
Thanks,
Thank you for all
everybody.
those comments. Those were great. It was really a privilege. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
It was great to work with all of you, and I look forward to watching how you all move the city forward without us. And I know that you'll all do a great job, and I look forward to seeing that.
Wonderful, thank you. Do we do a picture? Yes, do a picture?
Can we go stand by the screen?
You'll have to Photoshop me.
We could, yeah.
Can you make Maggie bigger on the picture?
Only in photo. Only in
Oh,
photo.
I don't know. I don't think that's necessary.
Oh, there we go.
You're not that.
I'm really worried how this is gonna go.
Adam, can you get a soccer ball? You have to be a real. Matt, you need to be on this side.
You gotta move. You can have
That side. And it's even, yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go.
We do it down on one knee for nothing.
There you go. Thank you.
That's a dark bullet.
I was waiting for someone to toss me the soccer ball.
Yeah.
Yes, oh, yes, it's a perfect gavel. Okay, so thank you for that. That was, therefore, I hope we get a copy of that picture. Save it. Okay, we move on to the last item in our new business is report of Community Development Director.
We passed, Commissioner, or Chair Chair Camcar stole my thunder a little bit. So we did, the city of Campbell does have a pro-housing designation. Very happy to report that. The mayor reported that last week. Huge kudos to senior planner Stephen Rose, probably dedicated half his life to that for 3 months on writing applications and talking to state staff. That does give us access to more money for housing projects. So we're looking forward to that. A rare honor, not a lot of cities get that. Number one. Number two, While advertised, the league's Planning Commissioner Academy is coming up again in March of next year. I know you all have been there. They're looking for, and especially maybe commissioners who are retiring to have more time, anyone who wants to set up a panel or has panel ideas. So
What was this again?
this is the league's Planning Commissioners Academy.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is coming up next year. If you'd like to give back and contribute, I'll forward the notice.
And it's in Anaheim?
This is in Anaheim this year.
Anaheim.
So have an active part this year as I'm incoming as the league president in this area.
Very
But if you have any interest, and of course our new commissioners will attend, just think about putting a proposal in. And last but not least, your next meeting, you will have two new planning commissioners, Phil Alney and Gary Kalina. So we will do an onboarding with them next week. I know you've been through our onboarding, and you'll see them at the next meeting. And that's all I have.
I'm aware that the recommendation streamlining housing went to city council last week. Any notes from that?
Yeah, good question, Adam. The recommendations did go. The council was generally supportive of all items except for greater subsidies for affordable housing projects. So one item was we provide a 50% reduction of park fees for affordable housing projects. There was an option to go to 100% to provide a greater subsidy. Council was not supportive of that, but the rest of the items, such as no utility requirements for small projects or fee waivers for small projects, greater entitlement, extending the entitlements, they were supportive of all the recommended actions.
By small projects, we're talking like less than 10 or
Less than 10, yes.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I was at the State of the City and it was brought up the Methodist Church 100% affordable project on Hamilton, right? Is that Methodist Church one? So
Charities housing, yes.
yeah, but correct me if you're wrong, we haven't seen that. Would that come in front of the planning commission?
It would not. It's a 100% affordable project that qualifies to be ministerially approved, and it actually has been approved.
Oh, okay. How many units?
That, they're actually have to reduce the size of it now, but it's approximately 100 units.
Why did they have to reduce the size?
I think they have cost considerations, and again, their financial stack, this is one of the big issues in the report. They don't have enough finances to build, and by reducing the height, they'll save on construction costs.
And that is the one thing the city council decided not to address.
Again, the city council is not favorable on bigger fee waivers.
I suppose we've had our say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Our next, we are going to adjourn the planning commission meeting to September 9th, 2025, 7 p.m. here at City Hall. Thank you.